He barricaded them with wooden boxes that were inside. In the chat, it was also noted that it will be difficult to penetrate through such a thick fog. Zhao Yi looked at the hole in the door. Through it, the boy saw the fog, and a system message appeared to him that the fog has an increased level of danger, with a note that there are a lot of strange things inside, and if they don't want to run into them, they should find shelter. Zhao Yi then looked at Yang Lingling. She breathed, and her mental power increased to 75. Raising her eyes, she thanked Zhao Yi for saving her life once again. When Zhao Yi suddenly changed his face, he suddenly took out a shotgun and aimed it at the girl. She looked at him in fear and asked what he was, and then the girl heard that behind her, in the bags that were stacked under the wall, something began to move. Yang Lingling was startled when she saw something starting to crawl out of the bags and garbage piled under the wall. It was a man who smiled at the couple, saying that they had found him. The girl jumped up and hid behind Zhao Yi. He continued to hold the shotgun that was already aimed at the unknown man. Zhao Yi stared at him intently, and the man raised his hands and told them not to kill him, that he was not their enemy. The boy received a system message that he was a person with a low level of danger, and a congratulatory note that they did find a living person in the school, but there is no reward for it. Lowering his shotgun, Zhao Yi asked who he was. The man replied that it was a long story. The man said that it was dangerous here and that something terrible would come here soon, so he would take them to the basement to begin with. Zhao Yi thought and then agreed with the man. Going down to the basement, the man introduced himself as Li Shen, a former investigator of the city police department. The man took out documents from his pocket and showed the couple his ID. Zhao Yi looked at him and confirmed that it was so. Then the girl introduced herself as Yan Lingling, and the boy introduced himself as Zhao Yi. While Zhao Yi was asking Li Sheng a question, did he come alone? He imperceptibly ran his fingers over the table that stood in the basement and noted about himself that there was absolutely no dust there. Sitting down in a chair, the man said that about 3 months ago, the police came to Shinan High School. Students and teachers who mysteriously disappeared one after another. City A's police sent a large number of people to investigate, but they found nothing. Therefore, the mayor of the city had no choice but to turn to them under the pressure of public opinion. After some preparations, Li Shen came to this school with a special mobile team to participate in the investigation. But quite suddenly, he encountered a strange thing. The man recalled how, standing in front of the entrance to the school grounds, he ordered his subordinates to divide into 3 teams of 9 people each. They entered the territory of the school, which was shrouded in an incomprehensible grey fog which gradually began to capture his subordinates. One by one, with terrible screams, they disappeared into the mist. When Li Shen realized what was wrong, he started shouting to his subordinates to run away because there was something scary in the fog. In the end, he escaped to the dormitory building with the other 6 team members who were left to survive. But when the fog cleared, they found they couldn't get out of the school. Therefore, the remaining 7 of them could only walk around the school, which was filled with various oddities. Zhao Yi listened carefully and looked at the man. He decided to ask him something. The boy asked what happened to the other 6 members of the team. The man quietly replied that they were dead. Zhao Yi noted that according to the story, he had stayed at the school for at least 3 months and wondered what the man had been eating all that time. Li Shen was embarrassed. He turned his head away and asked the boy if he could not talk about it. Zhao Yi looked at him intently. Suddenly, a loud roar was heard on the mountain. The walls trembled, the lamp on the ceiling swayed. Something entered the construction of the water tower. Could be heard on the mountain. Zhao Yi motioned for the others to behave quietly. The boy himself prepared a shotgun. Something terrible was going on inside the water tower. His heavy steps made the lamp on the ceiling swing wildly, and then the ghost stepped on a hatch in the floor that led to the basement. Yang Lingling and Li Shen tensed, but the monster passed by and the footsteps stopped. Everyone in the basement breathed a sigh of relief. The man continued to say that he had recently learned that there was a shelter here, otherwise he would have died a long time ago. System messages started coming to Zhao Yi. One was that player Jen Tao's mental strength was too low and he would turn into a dungeon monster. The second was about player Liu Bei, who was attacked by an unknown creature and died. The third message said that they were congratulating players Zhao Yi and Yang Ling for launching a secret mission to investigate the truth about Shinan School. The reward for this task is 1 point. The girl moved closer to Zhao Yi to read the system messages as well. She was horrified when she found out what happened to their fellow guild members. Zhao Yi calmly replied that it was to be expected. Then the boy turned to the investigator and asked that he had lived in this school for 3 months and had never encountered anything terrible. Li Shen looked at the boy and asked how it was possible not to encounter anything like this. The investigator revealed that Shinan School is under a terrible curse of reincarnation. The school staff are like walking corpses and die one by one over the course of 7 days. And then they are reborn, and this cycle continues again and again. And the further the curse goes, the more terrible things will happen. The man's eyes filled with fear. He said that he saw with his own eyes that on the 7th day of the curse, the teachers and students of the entire school held their bloody heads and patrolled every corner of the school. Li Shen said that they found him once. The man clutched his head and said he couldn't think about it anymore, that it was too horrible. Yang Ling asked how he managed to escape. The girl said that if the investigator was able to spend 3 months at this school, he would be able to help them live here for 7 days. The man hit the chair and repeated the word 1. He turned to the girl and explained that at that time he was running to the water tower and accidentally found this basement, so he could not escape. The girl was happy. She turned to Zhao Yi and took his hand and said that the water tower was a safe area. Therefore, as long as they stay there and do not go anywhere, they will be able to live for 7 days. Li Shen told the girl that it was not like that everything was much more complicated than she thought. The girl asked what the man meant, and the investigator explained with horror on his face that the power of the curse of this school is constantly expanding. Previously, the water tower was indeed a safe zone, and these ghosts outwardly ignored it and did not even try to look at it. Then they gradually began to roam the territory outside the water tower. Then they started knocking on the door to find out if anyone was inside or not. And even later, they simply forced their way into the water tower, searching everything that was there. On the 7th day after reincarnation, Li Shen hid in the basement and did not reveal himself for a while. The man shivered and added that this time they were all hiding in the basement and he was afraid that... Suddenly there was a loud roar. Above the basement, in the upper room, the stomping of ghosts was again heard. In the chat, someone wrote that judging by the number of steps, there was more than one ghost on the mountain. And as soon as this company is found, they will not be able to get out and they will all die. Ghosts began tapping the floor. They started doing this very close to the hatch that led to the basement. Zhao Yi and Yang Ling were struck by lightning. The guy rushed to the ladder saying that there is no support under that slab in the basement, so the sound will be empty. Having climbed out onto the gravel, the boy explained that the hatch had to be pressed down with something so that the tiles on the floor had the same sound as all the others. Li Shen and Yang Ling ran over to help him. Zhao Yi sat on top of the ladder and supported the hatch with his back and hands. On the mountain, in the room on the floor, sat a huge ghost. He looked like the ghost of the headmaster, and the monster thrashed his hands on the floor with every breath. Yang Ling and Li Shen were holding the ladder that Zhao Yi was sitting on. The ghost's blows on the floor became more and more powerful. Zhao Yi started shaking with tension. The girl and the investigator also held their breath. They heard that the apparition that was knocking on the hatch went to another place and began to knock on the floor there. The company was finally able to breathe a sigh of relief as Zhao Yi climbed down from the ladder. Li Shen turned to the boy and repeated what he had already said, that this water tower was not safe. Therefore, in order to survive this cursed cycle, one must either continue to look for another place or remove the curse. Placing the ladder against the wall, Zhao Yi looked at the man, and Yang Ling asked if he knew how to remove the curse. The investigator said that he knows how to remove the curse, but it is extremely difficult to implement. He can't do it alone, and he needs help. The girl replied that they could help him. Li Shen thought for a moment and then replied that it was fine and that he would trust them. He said that in any case, it would be pointless to continue sitting here. So why not try it? Getting to his feet, the man said that after their previous research and investigation, he could tell that the reincarnation of this ghost at the school started with one student. Yang Lingling called out Chen Chong's name. The investigator was surprised that they knew the name of this student. As Zhao Wei explained that they know, but not enough, it seems that Chen Chong's mother had an accident. Li Shen confirmed that this was the case and said that, first of all, Chen Chong lived in a poor family and the first days of his life were not bad. But when his father, who was engaged in mining in his town, collapsed in a mine, the student's father died inside. The owner of the mine was afraid of criminal prosecution, so he took the money and fled abroad without paying a penny to the families of the victims. Relying on his disabled seamstress mother to support the whole family, life for Chen Chong and his family became more and more difficult day by day. Fortunately, Chen Chong was competitive from childhood and his grades were always excellent. Not only was he accepted into the Xishan school, but he also received a large number of scholarships due to his extremely high ranking. Li Shen sighed heavily and said that this place was supposed to be a boy's dream, but unfortunately, an accident happened. In order to stimulate competition among students, the schools had to take 2 exams every month, and based on the test scores, the next weekly placement was to be determined. Chen Chong, who had excellent grades, sat in the first row with the podium, and all the excellent students accepted from all over the world could not stand next to him. In addition, there was a beautiful girl named Zhang Ya with excellent grades in their class. For a long time, she ranked second in the class and was Chen Chong's neighbor. As a high school student, the secretion of hormones is relatively high, and after a long time of communication, Chen Chong fell madly in love. At first, they were considered a couple, but then a new student, Pan Xiao, came to the class. And Mr. Xiao was the mayor's son, and despite being ranked last in every test, falling in love with Zhang Ya, he directly asked the school principal to equalize his position with that of Chen Chong. Indeed, Director Liang Ming did not dare to refuse his request. For some time, the first place sat on the last desk, and the last place on the first. Chen Chong knew that his family was very poor, and it was impossible to fight Pan Xiao, so the boy was patient. But when he saw Pan Xiao put his hand under Zhang Ya's clothes, and she didn't dare resist him, Chen Chong finally couldn't hold back the anger in his heart. Chen Chong wanted to take revenge on Pan Xiao, so he privately used his scholarship to bribe a group of classmates who also came from poor families. One night, they covered their faces with handkerchiefs, then grabbed Pan Xiao, dragged him into the bushes and beat him. However, all of them were recorded on the school's surveillance cameras. After being severely questioned by the class teacher, some students finally couldn't stand the pressure and confessed that it was Chen Chong. Therefore, Chen Chong was ordered to leave the school. Later, the boy's mother came to Xishan School and asked the principal, Liang Ming, to intercede for her son. But how could Liang Ming control it? In the end, during the argument, they pushed each other. Chong's mother, Rong Fan, so hard that she fell over the balcony railing and flew down. In front of many school employees and students, her brains were scattered on the school grounds. Thinking about what happened next, one could roughly guess. Chen Chong's mother's death was covered up by the school and the town mayor. A few days later, Chen Chong sneaked into the school and hacked his principal, Liang Ming, with a kitchen knife. He escaped from the school under security and has not been heard from since. There was silence in the basement. Zhao Yi and Yang Lingling stared at the man in silence. Li Sheng added that it was actually just external news. To tell the truth, Chen Chong didn't run away at all. He died. In this school. Zhao Yi thought that it was really so, and the girl was surprised and asked how it happened. Li Shen replied that the boy died in the underground garage of District B. His offense was so great that it affected the entire university. With a serious expression on his face, Li Shen said that they would break the curse if they destroyed Chen Chong's corpse. You just need to destroy his corpse to end the curse. Yang Lingling wondered how they should destroy his body. The investigator explained that when they first gathered at the university, they had brought a lot of powerful weapons with them. But when the contraption approached Chen Chong's body, it was attacked by his spirit body. That weapon was left in the shaft of the West End underground garage with the note, "Dirty Fire." Li Shen grabbed Yang Lingling's hand and said that this weapon needs to be identified. But it won't be very long. If they help him attract the attention of Chen Chong's spirit body, then soon he will be able to activate the weapon and destroy the body. The girl asked how long it would take. The man replied that 6 minutes would be enough. Then she turned to Zhao Yi and asked what he thought about this. Should they help him? Zhao Yi agreed and only asked when they would act. Li Xin was happy to hear that the boy agreed. He said that today was too late, but tomorrow night, when they got to the water tower, he would take them to the underground garage. On the evening of the second day, Zhao Yi and Yang Lingling were sitting in the school cafeteria and having dinner. The girl said with relief that it was a good thing they chose places from the list, otherwise they would have had their heads blown off like those boys in the class. Zhao Yi asked if she had a ribbon or a silk thread. Thin enough, long enough, and strong enough. Yang Lingling wondered why she told him. The boy, not taking his eyes off his dinner, calmly said to kill a person. The girl worriedly asked who to kill. Zhao Yi looked up at her and said with a serious expression to kill Li Shen. The girl was stunned. She said that he must have lost his mind. If he kills Li Shen, then who will help them lift the curse? Zhao Yi replied that if the girl was counting on that man to help them lift the curse, then she was indeed close to death. Yang Lingling looked at the boy and did not understand why he said that. Zhao Yi looked around. There was almost no one in the dining room. Then Yang Lingling leaned closer to the boy and quietly asked what he meant. Zhao Yi replied that he was lying to them. He explained that, first of all, Li Shen is just an investigator, not an 18th grade student. And the boy asked if the girl did not think that his description of Chen Chong was too detailed. Chen Chong saw the mayor's son, Pan Xiao, put Zhang Ya's hand under his clothes, but how many other people could see it? Yang Lingling pondered and answered that it was indeed so. Hu Zhao Yi continued that secondly, none of the three were on the list. If everything is as Li Sheng described, then he thinks that Chen Qiong, who has the ability to send everyone into the school with a strange power, he would never let Pan Xiao and Zhang Ya go. At least Chen Qiong would definitely not let Pan Xiao go. Yang Lingling thought about Zhao Yi's words. She said that it really made sense. After all, Pan Xiao was the source of Chen Qiong's suffering. X-Guy said that there is still a third time. The basement of the water tower was not found by chance. Zhao Yi suspects that this basement may have been built by Li Shen himself. The girl asked if it was possible. After all, the curse of this school spread over most of the territory. How could a man find the time to build such a large cellar in front of so many ghosts? Zhao Yi noted that there was no dust. Yang Lingling was surprised and asked what exactly was wrong. The guy repeated that there was no dust in the basement. Last night, he deliberately ran his finger over many places. The lamps, the sofa, and there was almost no dust on all of these things. They were all very clean. Usually no one cleans the basement. People always live in clean places. As the girl said, after the curse, it is almost impossible to build such a cellar in front of the spirits. Therefore, the basement may have been built before the curse was imposed. Zhao Yi also added that the entrance to the basement is so hidden and unlit. What does she think the likelihood is that Li Shen stumbled upon the basement while being hunted by spirits? Or, more likely, he knew about the existence of this basement. Yang Lingling was shocked by the boy's judgment. She thought to herself that his observation was very frightening. Then the girl asked that if Li Shen wanted to deceive them, then what was his purpose? Zhao Yi pondered and said that according to psychology, deliberate lies are usually half-truths or half-lies. To make a lie more logical and credible, it is often necessary to add some additional elements. For example, even if there is no ghost of Chen Chong in the West End underground garage, there is still a danger that they do not know about. Zhao Yi emphasized that Li Shen really wanted to go there with them. The fact is that if Li Shen goes there alone, he will never come out again, so he is lying. The guy added that they need to do everything possible to help the man attract the ghost. Messages appeared in the general chat with admiration for the boy's observation. Someone asked why Zhao Yi did not kill Li Shen immediately, but decided to do it later. Yang Lingling was shocked. She said that Li Shen had been so hypocritical all this time. The girl called up the menu of her inventory. After looking through the list of what she had, she chose and handed Zhao Yi a thread. She asked the boy what exactly she should do tonight. Zhao Yi replied that she didn't need to do anything. Whether they succeed or not depends on tonight. And with any luck, they'll be able to break the curse today. Later, the boy and girl walked through the school grounds to the water tower. Yang Ling said that she still did not fully understand whether he wanted to strangle Li Sheng to death with the string. Zhao Yi stopped and put a finger to her lips, told her to be quieter, that they were getting close to the water tower, so she should be delusional. Covering her mouth with both hands, the girl thought that Zhao Yi must have a secret plan, and she would not be able to hold back for long. They walked on in silence, and Yang Ling thought to herself that she needed to be on guard. If they are declassified, they will need to escape quickly. In front of the entrance to the water tower, Li Shen was walking and waiting for the couple. He was nervous why they hadn't come yet. Seeing Zhao Yi and Yang Ling, he asked why they were walking so long. And he explained that they need to hurry because there is not much time left. After midnight, this fog will once again fill every corner. Zhao Yi said with a calm expression that, in that case, they should really hurry and go to the place. Li Shen told them to follow him to the underground parking lot and went ahead. The man said that there are 3 entrances to the underground parking lot of the West End, and that the ghost roams the C area. When they approached the entrance to the underground parking lot C, Li Shen began to talk about his plan. He explained that the two of them would enter through entrance C and deliberately start making loud noises to attract the ghost's attention, and then they will exit through entrances A and B, thereby allowing the ghost to follow them to the exit of the parking lot. Li Xing pointed and said that he would hide here near the C exit. When they get the ghost's attention, he will enter and activate the weapon. Zhao Yi looked at the man and replied that it was fine. They would do so. Li Shen hid behind the entrance door to the parking lot and opened the door for Zhao Yi and Yang Ling, letting the couple go ahead and crouching down behind them. Approaching the entrance to the parking lot, Zhao Yi took out a grenade from his pocket with a thread attached to the receipt. He imperceptibly tossed the grenade in the direction of the pillar near the entrance. A grenade on a string wound around a pillar, the other end of the string was tied to the boy's hand. And yes, they entered the underground garage together with Yang Ling. Li Shen watched at the entrance as the couple walked deep into the parking lot. He thought that everything should work out this time. That, since that event happened, he stayed in this school for several months. That his comrades were established less and less in what kind of food. Therefore, this will be his last fight. Lurking in the corridor of the parking lot, the couple was able to see how many shadows of ghosts were in the garage. Zhao Yi ducked and ran across the parking lot and hid by the nearest car. A game dialogue appeared before his eyes, saying that player Zhao Yi's initial code had an error. An attempt was made to correct the error, but it failed several times. After looking at the parking lot, the boy saw among other ghosts one ghost marked X2. An exclusive hint appeared, which said that this ghost is extremely dangerous. Note 1 that his movement speed is extremely high and he can overcome most obstacles. Note 2, extremely strong attacks that the guy won't be able to resist. Behavior: destroys everything in sight and primarily attacks loud objects. Weakness: 1. Schrodinger's cat. Weakness: Tuba ontology. After closing the game menu, Zhao Yi told Yang Ling to follow him, that they needed to go to the left. They quickly ran through the parking lot, avoiding the dangerous ghost, and got to another corridor. Hiding behind one of the cars, the boy took out his phone. In the messenger, he sent the word OK to someone whom Som indicated in contacts. This message was received by Li Shen, who had Zhao Yi recorded in his phone as Zap. He also sent him a prox, and he himself, with a frightening smile, thought that they should die as soon as possible. If they die, he will live. If they want to blame him, then let them blame their bad luck. After all, how can you so easily believe what a stranger says? After reading the message, Zhao Yi smiled and tugged on the string, which had already stretched quite far across the parking lot to the entrance itself. The string, stretched tighter, began to click the check from the grenade. Li Shen, who was sitting at the entrance, noticed something click next to him. The man looked around and wondered what that strange sound was. At that moment, the check flew out of the grenade. A powerful explosion rang out. Li Shen was swept aside by the blast wave. The ghost, marked X2, laughed eerily when he heard the explosion. With the blast wave, Li Shen was thrown against the wall. Wounded, but still alive, he got up and did not understand what had happened. And when he looked up, he saw how the enraged ghost of X2 was rushing towards him along the corridor of the parking lot. The man was stunned and did not understand how this could happen. He ran away. Hearing Li Sheng's cry, Zhao Yi told Yang Lingling that the ghost had left and they should go to the mine the man was talking about. While they were walking through the parking lot, the girl asked where the boy got the grenade. Isn't there some kind of reward for those who complete the tasks in the dungeon? Zhao Wei explained that he had a patient, an arms dealer, and he cured him. Therefore, he sent him, as payment, a box with special ammunition. The guy said that usually, when he has nothing to do, he carries several such grenades with him. And when he is bored, he plays with them. Yang Lingling was stunned with shock. They went to the hatch in the floor and opened it. The girl noted that it was very dark inside, so she pulled out a flashlight from her inventory and handed it to Zhao Yi. The guy went down the stairs first. Yang Lingling followed him down and took out a shotgun. Having illuminated the mine with a flashlight, the couple saw a red button on one of the walls. The girl came closer and asked what she was for. Zhao Yi replied that if they guessed it was an elevator and pressed the button. The door opened. Stepping inside the elevator, Yang Lingling asked if such a place was not used for sewage, how could an elevator be built here? Zhao Yi pressed the button and said that they will go down now and have a look. They don't have time to delay. He does not know when that dangerous ghost will return. The elevator mechanism started working and the couple went down. The door opened and they saw a long, dark, creepy corridor. Yang Lingling asked what kind of place it was. Zhao Yi speculated that it might be some kind of strange experimental basement. The girl said, maybe this is some kind of experimental base. They got out of the elevator. The boy said that ever since they met the headmaster, he felt that something was wrong. In short, the stronger the ghost, the more sophisticated its attacks are and are usually harder to counter. Even in this dungeon there may be powerful monsters, but their attacks are physical, and this proves that the creature is not a ghost, but a monster. Zhao Yi said that apparently the School of Horrors was an impure supernatural force, and its components were bigger than they thought. Yang Lingling shouted at the boy to look ahead. Ahead in the corridor, there were several torn corpses of people who were dressed in medical overalls. Shining a flashlight, Zhao Yi pointed out that although they don't know what happened to these people, they definitely know that it is now dangerous here. He told Yang Lingling to follow him. The girl, looking at the corpses, agreed. Finally, they came to a door that had an electronic lock on it. Zhao Yi placed his hand on the scanner, but a recognition error message appeared. The guy said the lock on the door needs a face scan. The girl was worried and asked what they should do now. If they return now, they may encounter this black shadow. Zhao Yi took out the scalpel and walked back down the corridor with a creepy smile. The girl was very surprised and asked what he wanted to do. The boy turned the corner and approached the corpses of people. He crouched over one of them and began to carve something. Yang Lingling realized what he was doing and covered her mouth in fear. When Zhao Yi finished, he stood up and carried someone's head in his hands. There were comments in the general chat where they observed with delight the coolness of the guy and were surprised by his cleverness. Yang Lingling was so terrified that she clung to the wall as Zhao Yi walked past her with his head. The boy pressed the face of the severed head against the scanner. The girl breathed a sigh of relief. The system reported that recognition was successful, and there was also a message that the boy received a new item, Hetty's head. Zhao Yi and Yang Lingling entered the middle. The guy said that they needed a right. There was another corridor along which even more fragments of bodies were scattered. The couple walked in silence, avoiding everything that was under their feet. The boy noticed on the floor, in one severed hand, a leaf was clutched. He picked up the letter and read the contents. It was addressed to a girl. It said that Dad misses her very much, but he has a lot of work, so he won't be able to come home soon. After reading the letter, Yang Lingling said that the man was a good father who loved his daughter and that he missed her a lot before he died. Throwing the letter away, Zhao Yi said that yes, he is indeed a good father, but apart from that, he is probably also a murderer outside of school. That he must have killed many people, and this has nothing to do with what he writes in the letter. The girl was horrified by such a judgment. She made a grimace with her tongue sticking out, noting that the boy is a good man, but a rude one. Suddenly, from around the corner of the corridor, an eerie and frightening roar began to be heard. Zhao Yi and Yang Lingling froze in place.